In this video, we will take a look at the definitions of functions, domain, codomain, and image. So let's get started. We can think of a function as a system that takes some kinds of input and provides some kinds of output as a result. Now mathematically, we can use a relational approach to define a function f as a set of ordered pairs of x and y, where x belongs to x and y belongs to y. Now here, this x and this y represents the set of inputs and outputs respectively. So we typically represent a function as f such that it's mapped from the domain x and goes to the codomain y. Now here we are considering real valued functions, not complex valued functions, so I will keep the discussion only limited to real valued functions. So here the domain x and the codomain y can be subsets of Rn, the n-dimensional real line. Now we are familiar looking at graphs in 2 dimensions. So for example, the 2-dimensional graph that we always use. So this is basically the representation of the ordered pairs x and y in the Cartesian product structure of a 2-dimensional real line. Alright, so now let's go to the definitions of domain and codomain. The set of values that the function f accepts as inputs is called its domain. And similarly, the set of values that the function may attain as output is called its codomain. Now, the values that the function actually attains is called the set. That set is called its image. Now, the image is a subset of the codomain. It can also be equal to the codomain depending on what kind of function we are looking at. So now that we have all the definitions, let's take a look at some examples to clear out and make sure that we really understand them. So let's consider the function f, which is mapped from the domain R to the codomain R. And the function is given by f of x is equals to x squared. So here both the domain and the codomain of the function is R, the set of real numbers. This function can take any positive or negative real numbers as inputs, but in this case, since f of x is equal to x squared, it only gives out positive numbers as its output. It can only attain positive real numbers, including 0. So in this case, the image of the function is going to be R, the interval where it starts from 0 and goes all the way up to infinity. Now let's consider another function, g, which is defined as g. The domain is R, the set of all positive real numbers including 0, and the codomain is the set of all real numbers. And this function is given by g of x is equals to square root of x. So we can see that the domain is the set of all positive real numbers including 0, and the codomain is all of the real numbers, and this function can actually attain both positive and negative real numbers. So if we do square root of 5, where 5 is a positive number, but we can get plus minus 2 different numbers as the output. Finally, let's consider this function where h of x is given by 1 by x. So as we can see, this function is undefined when x is equals to 0. A very natural way to define the domain of this function would be all the real numbers except 0. So in this case the domain would be the set R minus 0. So this is a quick introduction to the definitions of function, domain, codomain, and image, and some examples that will help us understand these definitions. If you like my videos and find them helpful, then please support my work by subscribing to the channel.